What's going on, everybody? It's the Reformation Keegan, and I'm back today with another video. And today we are going to be doing a really good comic analysis. So, one of the goals that I'm having with these videos is I'm trying to make them about 10 minutes or less because I've learned that the longer most videos are, the audience's retention goes down. So, I'm trying to keep these at 10 minutes or less. So, it's an informative yet concise way of processing information. And I can attest to that as a university student because when you're in a seminar for up to 3 hours, I want to say after about an hour, most people start to check out. And I think for YouTube videos, a lot of people have them on in the background so they can listen to longer videos. But people who are really trying to pay attention, their attention span might max out after a certain amount of time. So it's one thing I've been working on my behalf. But today we have Batman: The Long Halloween by the legendary Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale pairing. And one of the things that I was thinking about doing eventually is doing a list of works ranked by the Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale collaboration. So obviously you have Batman: The Long Halloween, you have Batman: Dark Victory, you have Catwoman story, you have Spider-Man Blue, you have the whole color series, so basically Captain America White, Daredevil Yellow, Hulk Gray, etc. So I was thinking of eventually ranking all of these stories, which I think would be intriguing. So, Batman: The Long Halloween. Where do I start? So, if you've watched any of my other videos, you would know that I am a huge fan of Jeph Loeb's writing. Jeph Loeb is a very emotional writer that uses a lot of personal experience in his own diction, in his own prose, to convey his messages, and I think Batman and him are a match made in heaven because of that, because Batman is a character that relies a lot on pathos for emotional effect on the reader and observer. So I think that this is pretty much a flawless work. And I don't like saying flawless because there's always little things that you can critique. However, for a comic story, I don't think there's many better than The Long Halloween. And dare I say, this is probably my favorite Batman story that I've ever read, and I've read quite a lot of them. The only couple other ones I haven't read are like Arkham Asylum by Grant Morrison and Whatever Happened to the Cape Crusader by, let's leave him nameless. So anyway, Jeph Loeb to me is probably, I want to say, one of the more emotional writers that I've ever read. Grant Morrison's also a very great writer when it comes to emotional effect, aka pathos. So, and I know pathos is a recurring theme in almost all these comics, but all of them have some kind of sentimental emotional effect, whether it's on the characters themselves, on us, or even the authors. So one of the things I want to talk about with this book itself is the theme of time and also the theme of a hermeneutic irritant. So for those who don't know what a hermeneutic irritant is, it's basically a device within a story where the audience can't figure something out and it's designed for that purpose. So for example, if you're reading a story and you can't figure out what a certain character's motivations are, that's what we would call a hermeneutic irritant. And it is usually designed on purpose, deliberately, by the author for you to theorize, because there's also a phrase of show, don't tell. And if the author tells you everything already about the story within the words of the characters, you're not going to be entertained anymore. And then after you're done reading it, you're going to have all your questions answered, and there's no healthy debate or healthy speculation to go forward. So I think The Long Halloween does a perfect job at giving us hermeneutic irritants, whether it's Selina Kyle herself, Selina Kyle's relationship with Batman, Catwoman herself, Catwoman's relationship with Batman, Batman's relationship with Jim Gordon, Batman's relationship with the justice system, and also the theory of misery revolving around Holiday. So I also like the name Holiday because you have this mysterious figure committing all of these murders via gunshot throughout the entire season, throughout the entire year. So every holiday, no pun intended, has a reason for the killings, and the deliberation behind it is very well done. You have the Falcones and you have the Maronis. They're two feuding teams, and then you have the VDs from Chicago. So you get this theme of mob gang warfare that Jim Gordon and Batman are always having to combat. But on top of that, you also have the original rogues gallery of Batman. You still have the Joker, and you have the Riddler, and you have all of these characters coming to a forefront. And really, it's almost unprecedented that the Joker would be involved, but not directly involved in these murders that seemingly happen every holiday. So the hermeneutic irritant behind this is why we don't necessarily know why the Riddler or why the Joker are not involved. And the other hermeneutic irritant is not knowing who this holiday is until near the conclusion. And why on holidays does holiday commit these atrocities? We can theorize and we can speculate, but the one thing that I've figured out is holiday is not just one individual. And yes, it is revealed that it is Alberto Falcone, but also there's a couple other holidays. I believe that Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, is also holiday. He commits some murders as well during this timeline, and also Gilda, because Gilda is seemingly in the know of what Harvey's been doing, and then eventually she retreats and then she's gone, and we don't have an answer to why. We can theorize, was Gilda leading everything, or was Gilda scared? Was it both? Or did Gilda know more than she knew, actually, and then became guilty of that, and she started to guilt herself, and then she had to retreat out of that? We don't know, but that's the process of healthy debate among pros. And I think Jeff Loeb does a perfect job at this. Tim Sale's art also is fantastic. I think Tim Sale's ink wash style with Batman works perfectly. So these two are probably my favorite pairing of all time. And the hermeneutic irritant is almost like a phenomenon, because without it, we have all these answers and then we can't discover anything more. And to me, Holiday is very similar to the second Joker movie. And I know a lot of people didn't like the second Joker movie, but what I liked about it was a social justice themed narrative saying to us that anybody could become the Joker on any given day, and all it takes is one bad day and really a rough childhood and rough upbringing to really bring all that out. And it takes one bad day for all of that to come to a head. The same way we have that with Holiday. We have Alberto Falcone, almost kind of on the outskirts. And the theme of unpredictability was really good in this too, because Jeff Loeb had you leading that the one holiday was Harvey. And you even have Batman deliberating with himself this moral dilemma of, well, this is my friend, and he is accused of doing this, and me and Jim Gordon think he may have done it. But there's this theme of denial as well, where Batman's like, it's my friend, but I could kind of see him doing this. But I don't want to believe it. It's like somebody that you see in your life where you love them, you care about them, you even trust them, but if they do a certain act, you might think in your mind, yeah, I'm not surprised that this individual did this. So that's a theme of interpersonal relatability that Jeff Loeb is giving us via Batman, and also with Harvey Dent, because some human beings are unpredictable in nature, and when tragedy hits them, they become even more unpredictable due to that traumatic instance that happens, and then that traumatic instance evolves into basically post-traumatic stress disorder, whether it's physical or emotional or both, and you get that with Two-Face in this. And here's a question. If Two-Face was the only holiday, would Two-Face be justified or not? That's a question to be determined, and I think that's a hermeneutic irritant that we could try and theorize forever, really. Even with Jeff Loeb, it would be awesome to discuss that with him and try to understand why the hermeneutic irritant was so complex yet diverse. So that's what I really liked about this story. And with Holiday, like I said, it could have been 3 people, or it could have even been more. Maybe all of Batman's rogues gallery are Holiday in their own way, shape, or form. So if you look in day-to-day life, I think Holiday as a character is relatable everywhere, because you can have people around you that either you don't know or you do know, but it's the people that you may least expect to be that holiday and to commit something that they want to do, whether it's because they're pressured into it, or if it's for self-retribution, or if you're in the Joker's case, if there really is no reason that no one can fathom other than yourself. That leaves I would say healthy interactions for everybody going forward when you're debating the ins and outs of this story. So I think the theme of holidays, not just holiday himself, but the holidays and what every holiday means. Like for example, like Mother and Father's Day to Bruce are the most sentimental in this story, and I like that they're mirrored right after each other. I thought that was really well done. And then, like I said, you have little sub stories. Like for example, when the shooter shoots, he shoots twice. Very indicative of Two-Face, and that's where you can kind of see where Holiday is multi-dimensional and not just one entity. So I like that part. The number two as a symbol and a motif was really revealing. And what I think is good too is you have somebody like Jeff Loeb who's already an experienced writer, and he's using stuff, even from Daredevil Yellow or Spider-Man Blue throughout his diction and also throughout the theme of tragedy to really exemplify how this is affecting everybody in day-to-day society as well. So I know Spider-Man Blue and Daredevil Yellow, they came after The Long Halloween, I believe, but you can also see it in Dark Victory as well. And Dark Victory happens a little bit later, which I'm probably going to do a video on too, because I think there's a lot more speculation to go through with that one. But that's basically what I'm thinking about with Batman The Long Halloween. And Halloween is a very mysterious holiday. And I think the theme of a hermeneutic irritant coincides with that fact too. I think Halloween and uncertainty, they just go together. And I think that's why Jeff Loeb deliberately had this story be an entire hermeneutic irritant. So let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with more soon.